So many people think Singapore is perfect, especially foreigners, right? A lot of them say Singapore is safe, is efficient, Singaporeans are very rich, and everything just works. But why do a lot of Singaporeans actually feel tired? Why do people feel that something isn't right? Many people are stressed out. They feel like they're running around, but not really getting anywhere. And when it comes to this topic, a lot of people think, it's because of the cost of living, it's because of inflation, there's foreign talents coming in, there's overpopulation, it's getting crowded. And I think, yes, all of this is valid, and it does make life a little bit more tougher and more difficult. But I don't think that's the full story. There is something deeper than that. I think a lot of us actually followed kind of the prescribed path, right? Get a good job, stable job, and then, start a family and live a stable, comfortable life. That's kind of like the prescribed path. And Singaporeans, we are quite quite obedient, quite 听话, right? So we do follow kind of this standard path, not questioning it. And yes, it does lead to like a somewhat stable and comfortable life, right? You probably, start earning more, sometimes maybe more than you ever imagined you could in your 20s. You start climbing the career ladder, you can afford nice meals, you can go on nice travels and nice holidays, right? And that is not an issue. But after a while, it becomes normal. It doesn't really change the way you feel as much as you thought it would. And then at one point in time, you move from kind of chasing to maintaining, right? I think in our teens, when we're in our 20s, we are kind of chasing goals. We are kind of, trying to prove ourselves, trying to get something, we're trying to build something. But somewhere along the way, you kind of move into kind of maintenance mode, right? Kind of, how do I explain it? You kind of realize you're not chasing something anymore. You move into adulting, right? You have bills to pay, you have to provide for your family, you need to manage work obligations and work expectations, right? So you move into kind of maintenance mode. And because you have some of these obligations, maybe you have a property mortgage, maybe you have, kids that you need to provide for, you cannot simply just walk away, right? You cannot just like, oh, today I don't like it, I just like, walk away, pack my bag, walk away, and that's just not possible. So even if something feels off, even if something doesn't feel right, you just continue on, you just soldier on, right? Eventually, life becomes more routine, like you're living on autopilot. Every day you wake up, you go to work, be in those like endless meetings, people just talking all the time, uh, to no end, and then you get drained by all this like energy and politics and what have you, right? And then you come back home, it doesn't end there. You still have your kids to take care of, you have your wife or your husband to attend to. You sometimes you just look forward to just like sitting on the couch and doing nothing. You want to have a little bit of an escape, which is why a lot of Singaporeans plan to go on holidays, short trip. I think some people even a few days away from the country, out of the country, is like a break to them. I remember I have an ex-colleague who used to say like her business trips is like her break. That's quite funny. I was like, how is this business trip a break for you? Anyway, yeah, any chance to step away, they just love it and look at it as like a little bit of an escape from life. And eventually things that used to excite you just don't feel the same anymore. You don't feel the same excitement anymore, right? You used to look forward to that promotion, but you know, when you get promoted, yes, you're happy for a few days, but after that, you know, life goes on, right? You don't feel that excitement anymore. It doesn't energize you, doesn't motivate you. You will buy something that you have always wanted to buy, and you're happy for a while. After that, the excitement just fades away as well, right? um yeah, so things that used to motivate you doesn't really motivate you anymore, and you feel somewhat uh disappointed lah, in a way. At the same time, time feels very real, very very real, right? If you have kids, right, one day your kid is so small, after in a blink of an eye, you know, they are taller than you, right? And then you start to wonder like, oh, where has all this time gone? Am I being present with them or just getting through the days, right? And then at the same time, health is something that is a lot more important, or at least you realize it a lot more, because when you're young, you know, you can do anything to your body will recover very quickly, right? But you know, as we get a bit older I think, yeah, you just feel it doesn't have to be like a major like health disaster, right? But you do feel, you know, maybe you get more tired more easily, you know, you just take longer to recover. You just feel like you don't have the same energy anymore. You don't have unlimitless energy anymore. You realize that, you know, we might not be around for long. Maybe, I mean, touch wood, right? But yeah, like who knows? And we are more aware of our own mortality in that sense lah. Yeah. So, and also at the same time, you know, you see people around you starting to talk about retirement, you know, getting the CPF, people starting to retire, and then you think to yourself, is there something that, you know, you can do? Are you prepared for that? Do you have enough for that? It makes you kind of pause and realize that maybe you're also moving into that phase, right? And so you stop thinking in kind of short term, right? You stop, you know, you don't just think of the next year. You think about you think in longer terms, like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. And there is like this new kind of quiet worry uh, of whether you are living the life you actually want, or just kind of continuing the life that you have started years ago. Time doesn't feel endless anymore, and that actually changes the way we see everything. And once you see that, right, you cannot unsee that anymore. You just cannot unsee that, right? And if you're busy out and about, it's okay. Like you go around doing your thing, you're distracted, you don't think so much about it. But in some of these quiet moments, you know, when potentially if you are like, I don't know, in a grab car looking out the window, or you know, lying in bed at night, you might have this quiet thought that comes out asking, is this it? I mean, you have a beautiful life, a comfortable life. It's the life you have worked for, and you know, you should be grateful, you should be satisfied, you should be contented. But there's this nagging feeling of, is this it? Is something missing? You feel a little bit lost, you feel a little bit empty. Objectively, intellectually, your life is not bad, right? So you tell yourself, you know, just be grateful, don't think too much, don't overcomplicate things. It's okay, right? But is it really? So maybe you're feeling this way not because of the stress, not because of money, not because of external pressure, but you haven't actually stopped to check in with yourself. You're not struggling, you're not failing, you're just starting to question things. Maybe something in you is changing. Maybe instead of pushing it away, you can start listening to it. And maybe it's the start of something new. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.